Penalties. A necessary part of all sports. In most cases, they are absolutely necessary as a means of holding competitors accountable, whether it be for a mistake or for disobeying the rules. Penalties are super common in motorsports, whether it's a 10-place grid penalty for an engine change in F1 or starting from the rear in a NASCAR race for missing the driver's meeting. There are rules in racing that have sanctions if broken. In comes the drive-through penalty. It's a punishment that requires a driver to go through the pit lane at pit lane speed for committing one of many infractions, such as jumping the start or being too far behind the safety car. Such a costly penalty surely requires proper officiating to ensure that when it's handed down, there's no room for debate or speculation. Well, in today's video, we will go back to the 2002 Malaysian Grand Prix, where Formula One's first ever drive-through penalty was handed. The funny part is, it may have been the worst one ever handed. Malaysia was round 2 of the 2002 Formula One World Championship. The season kicked off in an absolutely chaotic manner with a wild Australian Grand Prix that saw BMW Williams driver Ralf Schumacher launch over Rubens Barrichello on lap 1 at just the first turn. This triggered a crash that took 8 cars out the race. The race would be that of attrition, as only 8 drivers finished the race, including Mark Webber, who scored points in his home Grand Prix in dramatic fashion for the struggling Minardi team. Then came the podium, which consisted of the young Kimi Raikkonen finishing P3 on his McLaren debut, and the 2 drivers that will set the stage for today's video, Michael Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya. The 2 drivers finished 1-2, and by virtue of that, they were now top 2 in the championship, exiting the season opener and heading to round 2 at the Sepang circuit. The 2 would duke it out for pole, with Michael coming out on top by over 4 tenths. However, lap 1 of the race would see a Williams and a Ferrari make contact for the second time in 2 races. As they lined up on the grid and the lights went out, Montoya got the better jump and dodged Schumacher's defense, going to his left with the intention of moving around his outside into turn 1. However, as the 2 entered turn 1, contact that resulted in Michael losing his front wing and Montoya losing many places once that front wing got lodged underneath his right front tire. Montoya was rather angry with Michael for the contact, waving his hand at the German. He believes he gave Michael enough room into turn 1 and that the contact was solely the fault of the Ferrari driver, which is why it was much to his, Williams's, and probably everyone in the viewing audience's shock when the first ever drive-through penalty in sports history was handed to Montoya for the contact. As he pulled into the pits, Montoya raged over the radio, saying that the pen was BS and that he gave Michael more than enough space to race side by side. Luckily for Juan, he would still get the better of Michael that day, climbing back into P2 behind his teammate and winner Ralf Schumacher for Williams' first 1-2 in over 5 years, as Michael Schumacher could only manage P3 after passing the Renault of Jenson Button late. Montoya made his side of the story clear in a post-race interview.
I wasn't going to give him half of the track because, we're racing. I gave him enough track for him to go around the first corner. I could see him understeering to me, and when I saw it, it was a bit, I couldn't really do anything. I was expecting just to touch it a little bit, but that was it.
Not only that, but even Schumacher came to the Colombian's defense.
Do you think maybe he was dealt with quite harshly today?
Honestly, to be honest, yes, because I would think we have seen situations far more extreme where nothing has happened, and today a little touch, something was done.
Schumacher would go on to have a dominant season, finishing every race on the podium, as Montoya, though rapid in quali, would not see the top step of the podium all year. But, as it regards drive-through penalties, a total of 56 drive-through penalties have been handed down since Malaysia 2002. 16 drive-through penalties were given in 2002, with only 3 given for causing an accident, that being Montoya at Malaysia, Villeneuve at Austria, and Massa at Monaco. And while it's easy to see why the pens were handed down to Villeneuve and Massa, Montoya's still puzzles F1 fans. Also, coincidentally, When F1 returned to Malaysia the next year, a lap 1 incident would actually see Michael receive a drive-through penalty as he hit Jarno Trulli in the first set of corners. But I think we can all agree that of the 57 drive-through penalties ever given, the 2002 Malaysian Grand Prix was surely the worst. My name is Intern, a Talk Wheel, and thanks for watching.